Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Today we will discuss bones of foot. The bones of foot are tarsal bones, the metatarsals and phalanges. The general grouping are similar to that of the carpals, metacarpals and phalanges in the wrist and hand. You should know the names of bones of foot. Just like in our hand, we have tarsal bones instead of carpal bones, and we have metatarsals instead of metacarpals. And just like phalanges in our hand, we have phalanges in our foot also. See here, the bones which are shown in light brown color, they are tarsal bones. We have different names for tarsal bone, just like different names for the carpal bones. This is the first and the strongest bone of the foot. This is calcaneum. It is named as calcaneum or heel bone or calcaneus. This is calcaneum. Number 2 is talus. Talus is the only bone which is articulating with tibia and fibula and forming the ankle joint. That's why it is named as ankle bone. Then there is navicular bone. See here, this is navicular bone which is on the medial side of the foot, and there is cuboid bone on the lateral side of the foot. And there are 3 cuneiform bones which are named as medial cuneiform on the medial side, intermediate cuneiform in the middle, and lateral cuneiform on the lateral side. These are 7 tarsal bones. Okay, 7 tarsal bones. Actually, there are 2 rows for the tarsal bone, just like rows for the carpal bones in hand. These rows are proximal row and distal row. In the proximal row, we have only 2 bones which are named as calcaneum and talus, and in the distal row, we have 4 bones which are cuboid and cuneiform bone. Navicular bone is present in the intermediate location. So this is navicular bone which will be intermediate bone, and proximal row which consists of calcaneum and talus, and distal row which consists of the cuboid bone and 3 cuneiform bones. Then we have 5 metatarsal bones. These are long bones. Okay, long bones. So they are having the head, then shaft, and then base. This is the head of the metatarsal bone, this is the shaft of the metatarsal bone, and this is the base of the metatarsal bone. The first metatarsal bone is of the great toe side. This is great toe side or the medial side. This is named as first metatarsal bone. This is the strongest of the metatarsal bones. Then this is second metatarsal, third metatarsal, fourth metatarsal, and fifth metatarsal bone. Then we have 14 phalanges. Just like 14 phalanges in our hand, there are 14 phalanges in the toe bones. These 2 phalanges which are proximal phalanx and distal phalanx in the great toe. Great toe is also named as hallux. Okay, this is a Latin word which means great toe. So all muscles which are attached to the great toe will be named as hallucis. Okay, then there are 3 phalanges in the second toe, 3 phalanges in the third toe, 3 phalanges in the fourth toe, and 3 phalanges in the fifth toe, which is the little toe. So these are the names of the bones of foot. Again, I will repeat. First of all, we have tarsal bones, then we have metatarsals, and then we have 14 phalanges. Among the tarsal bones, the names are calcaneum, talus, navicular bone, cuboid, and 3 cuneiforms which are medial cuneiform, middle cuneiform or intermediate cuneiform, and lateral cuneiform bone. See here in this diagram, talus is the only bone which is articulating with tibia and fibula, and it is forming ankle joint. Okay, talus is also articulating with the navicular bone in front. Navicular bone is articulating with 3 cuneiform bones. This is cuboid on the lateral side. Okay, cuboid on the lateral side. 3 cuneiforms are articulating with 3 metatarsals, which are first 3 medial metatarsal bones. Then cuboid is articulating with lateral 2 metatarsal bones, and these are phalanges. These are phalanges. Now we will discuss every bone one by one. First of all, tarsal bones. The tarsal bones are calcaneum, talus, navicular bone, cuboid and 3 cuneiform bones. They are total 7 bones. Only the talus out of these 7 bones articulate with tibia and fibula to form the ankle joint. The tarsal bone, unlike those of the carpus, start to ossify before birth. Centers of ossification for calcaneum and talus and cuboid are present at birth, but the process of ossification takes place in all tarsal bones by the 5th year. Now we will discuss every bone one by one. First of all, calcaneum. This is calcaneum or heel bone. Calcaneum is the largest bone of the foot and it is forming the prominence of the heel. It articulates above with the talus. See here, this is the superior view of the foot. Calcaneum is below and talus is above. So calcaneum is articulating with the talus superiorly and in front with the cuboid bone. See here, it is articulating with the cuboid bone anteriorly. This calcaneum has 6 surfaces. Okay, we will discuss all surfaces one by one. First of all, the anterior surface. See here in this diagram, anteriorly the calcaneum is articulating with cuboid. So anteriorly it has articular facet that articulate with the cuboid bone. Remember this thing. This is anterior surface. Then we have posterior surface. The posterior surface forms a prominence of the heel and it give attachment to the tendocalcaneum or the Achilles tendon. Do you remember what is Achilles tendon or tendocalcaneum? This is a tendon which is formed by the insertion of the medial head of the gastrocnemius and the lateral head of the gastrocnemius and the soleus muscles, which are present in the posterior compartment of leg. These muscles are inserting in a tendon or forming a tendon which is named as tendocalcaneum, and that tendocalcaneum is inserted over the middle part of the posterior surface of the calcaneum. As we divide the posterior surface of the calcaneum into 3 parts, the upper part, the middle part and the lower part, this tendocalcaneum or the Achilles tendon will be inserted or will be attached to the middle part of the posterior surface of the calcaneum. So we have discussed 2 surfaces, anterior surface which is articulating with the cuboid and the posterior surface which is giving attachment to the tendon Achilles or tendocalcaneum. Now we will discuss the superior surface. See here, this is superior surface of the calcaneum. On the superior surface we have 3 articular facets for the talus bone. As you know this thing that on superiorly it is articulating with talus bone. So there will be 3 articular facets for the talus bone. Okay, this is the posterior articular facet for the talus bone, this is the middle articular facet for the talus bone, and this is anterior talar articular facet. So there are 3 facets for the talus bone articulation on the superior surface of the calcaneum. You can see here a sulcus which is present in between the middle and the posterior articular talar facets. This sulcus is named as sulcus calcanei or calcaneal sulcus. Remember this thing, this is present on the superior surface in between the middle and the posterior talar articular facet. So what we have learned for the superior surface, on the superior surface we have 3 facets and one calcaneal sulcus. So in this slide we have discussed 3 surfaces, anterior surface which was giving attachment to the cuboid bone, posterior surface which was giving attachment to the tendon Achilles, and superior surface which is giving attachment to the talus bone, having 3 articular facets so that the talus can be articulated here, and there is a calcaneal sulcus which is in between the middle and the posterior talar articular facet. Now the inferior surface of the calcaneum bone. See here, this is the diagram which is showing the inferior surface of the calcaneum. Inferiorly we have 3 tubercles. See here, one tubercle is on the anterior side of the inferior surface and 2 tubercles are on the posterior side of the inferior surface. These tubercles are named as medial tubercle and lateral tubercle because one is present on the medial side and one is present on the lateral side. So total there are 3 tubercles on the inferior surface of the calcaneum. These tubercles are forming one triangular area. See here, this is anterior tubercle, this is medial tubercle and this is lateral tubercle. Okay, this is the medial side of the calcaneum. How you will know that this is the medial side and this is the lateral side of the calcaneum? On the medial side there is a big projection which is named as sustentaculum tali, and on the lateral side most of the lateral surface is flat. Okay, so you can recognize from this thing that the flat surface will be lateral surface and the projection surface, or having a big projection, this surface is the medial surface of the calcaneum. So on the medial surface this tubercle will be named as medial tubercle and this tubercle will be named as lateral tubercle, and because there is only one anterior tubercle, so it is not medial or lateral, it is only anterior tubercle. So there are 3 tubercles on the inferior surface of the calcaneum. Now we will discuss the medial surface of the calcaneum. As I have already told you that there is a big projection on the medial surface. This is a large shelf-like process which is named as sustentaculum tali. Why it is named as sustentaculum tali? Because sustentaculum is any structure which is giving support to the other structure. So talus, because it is giving support to talus bone which is above it, that's why it is named as sustentaculum tali. So it supports the talus. On the lateral surface we have a small tubercle. You can see here the small tubercle, or in this diagram you can see this is a small tubercle on the lateral surface. This tubercle is named as peroneal tubercle. This is present on the lateral side because 2 muscles which are coming from the lateral surface of the leg, which are peroneus brevis and peroneus longus muscles, they are present above and below the peroneal tubercle. Actually this peroneal tubercle is separated the peroneus brevis above and peroneus longus below. So it is in between the peroneus longus and the peroneus brevis. I hope you understand 6 surfaces of calcaneum. Again I will repeat these surfaces. Number 1 is anterior surface. This is anterior surface of calcaneum which is giving attachment to cuboid bone. This is posterior surface of calcaneum which will give attachment to Achilles tendon. This is the superior surface of calcaneum which is having 3 articular facets for the talus bone. In between the articular facets there is a calcaneal sulcus. Okay, so these are 3 surfaces. Then other 3 we have inferior surface having 3 tubercles. One is anterior and 2 are posterior. On the posterior side, that one is medial tubercle and one is lateral tubercle. So there are 3 tubercles on the inferior surface. Then we have medial surface and we have a lateral surface. On the medial surface we have a big process which is named as sustentaculum tali because it is supporting the talus bone, and on the lateral side we have a tubercle which is named as peroneal tubercle because it is separating the tendons of the fibularis longus muscle and fibularis brevis muscles, which are the muscles of the lateral compartment of leg. See here, this is the medial aspect of the calcaneum. Okay, I have told you on the medial side there is a big projection which is named as sustentaculum tali, and on the superior surface you can see 3 facets for the articulation of the talus bone. This is the posterior surface of the calcaneum having the attachment for the tendon Achilles in the middle part of the posterior surface. Now we will discuss second bone, which is talus bone. Talus articulate with tibia on the medial side of the leg and fibula on the lateral side of the leg to form the ankle joint. Okay, below it articulates with the calcaneum bone. You know this thing that below the talus there is calcaneum bone, and in front of the talus there is navicular bone with which it articulates. This talus bone has 3 parts. See here, this is talus bone. It has 3 parts. First part is head, then there is a neck and then there is a body. Head is directed distally, and this head, because it articulates with the navicular bone, so it has a convex articular surface with which it articulates with the navicular bone. Okay, this surface is continued inferiorly and it is in relation with two structures. One is the calcaneo-navicular ligament, because here there is calcaneum bone, so there will be ligament in between the calcaneum and the navicular bone. So this surface is related inferiorly with the calcaneo-navicular ligament. And number two, it is related with the sustentaculum talli, okay, which is present in the calcaneum bone. Again, I will repeat, this is head of the talus, this is neck of the talus, and the posterior part is the body of the talus bone. Head is articulating with the navicular bone and it has the convex articular surface. This convex articular surface is related inferiorly with two structures. One is calcaneo-navicular ligament, which is present in front, and one is sustentaculum talli of the calcaneum, which is present behind. Then there is a constricted neck in between the head and the body. You should know this thing, that on the talus bone there are numerous ligaments which are attached, but there is no muscle which is attached to the talus bone. Okay, again I will repeat, head is directed distally and it has the oval convex surface which will articulate with the navicular bone, and it is in relation with two structures which are the calcaneo-navicular ligament in front and sustentaculum talli behind. See here again, this is the talus bone which is articulating with the tibia on the medial side and fibula on the lateral side, and in front with the navicular bone and inferiorly with the calcaneum. Now the neck of the talus bone. The neck of the talus bone lies posterior to the head and it is slightly narrowed. Its upper surface is roughened and it is forming one sulcus which is named as sulcus talli. We have discussed one sulcus in the calcaneum bone which was present in between the middle and the posterior facets for the talus, that was named as sulcus calcaneum, and this is sulcus calcanei. So these two sulci, when they unite together to form a sinus which is named as sinus tarsi. Okay, the sulcus talli above and the sulcus calcanei below will form a tunnel which is named as sinus tarsi, which is occupied by strong introitious talocalcaneal ligament. So there will be one sinus tarsi. Why it is named as sinus? Because sinus is a blind, you can say, space which is not communicated with anything, and it is present in the tarsal bone. That's why it is named as sinus tarsi, and it is formed by two sulci, one sulcus in the talus bone that is named as sulcus talli, and one sulcus in the calcaneum bone which is named as sulcus calcaneum. So it is the formation, it is the combination of two sulci. This is sinus tarsi. It is occupied by strong introitious talocalcaneal ligament. Now we will discuss the body of the talus. The body of talus is cuboidal in shape. Its superior surface articulates with the distal end of the tibia, and its lateral surface will articulate with the lateral malleolus of the fibula, and medial surface will articulate with the medial malleolus of the tibia. You should know this thing, that this body of the talus articulates with the medial malleolus of the tibia on the medial side and the lateral malleolus of the fibula on the lateral side. See here, it is obvious in this diagram. This is the medial surface of talus and this is the lateral surface of talus. Medial surface of talus, it is articulating with the medial malleolus of the tibia, and lateral surface of the talus is articulating with the lateral malleolus of the fibula. Inferiorly, the posterior surface is marked by two small tubercles which are medial and lateral tubercles, and which are separated by a groove, which is because of the flexor hallucis longus tendon. Remember this thing, that the posterior surface of the talus is grooved by flexor hallucis longus tendon. This can come in your exam. Now this is the lateral aspect of the calcaneum and the lateral aspect of the talus. I have told you laterally the talus articulate with the lateral malleolus of the fibula, and this is the lateral tubercle on the posterior surface of the talus. In between the lateral tubercle and the medial tubercle there will be a groove for the flexor hallucis longus tendon. This is the lateral aspect of the calcaneum bone. See here, lateral aspect of the calcaneum bone. It is the posterior surface which will give attachment to the tendon Achilles. This is the lateral tubercle of the inferior surface because there is one medial tubercle also on the inferior side, and this is the fibular tubercle, okay, or peroneal tubercle. Fibular and peroneal are same. This peroneal tubercle which is very small, and because of this small tubercle this lateral surface is flat, and this peroneal tubercle will separate the peroneus brevis above and peroneus longus below. Remember this thing. Now the navicular bone. See here, this is navicular bone. This is present on the medial side. Remember this thing. How you will recognize the medial side of the foot? Because of the great toe. This is medial side of the foot, and navicular bone is present on the medial side. There is one important point which you have to learn in the navicular bone. There is a tuberosity of the navicular bone which can be seen and felt on the medial border of the foot, 1 inch in front of the and below of the medial malleolus of the tibia. It gives attachment to the main part of the tibialis posterior tendon. Remember this thing. This is very important point, and usually it comes in your MCQ. The tibialis posterior is attached to which bone of the foot? So this is the tuberosity of the navicular bone or medial tuberosity of the navicular bone which is giving attachment to the tibialis posterior tendon. Now we will discuss the cuboid bone. There is a deep groove on the inferior aspect of the cuboid bone which lodges the tendon of the peroneus longus muscle. Tendon of the peroneus longus or the fibularis longus muscle. This is also very important point which you have to learn. Which is cuboid bone? See in this diagram, cuboid bone is the lateral bone. It is articulating posteriorly with the calcaneum and anteriorly with the lateral two metatarsal bones, okay, and medially it is articulating with the navicular bone and the lateral cuneiform bone. So this is cuboid. On the inferior surface of the cuboid we have a groove for the fibularis longus tendon. Now three cuneiform bones. See here, these are three small wedge-shaped cuneiform bones which are articulating proximally with the navicular bone and distally with the first three metatarsal bones, which are first three medial metatarsal bones. They are wedge-shaped, contribute greatly to the formation and the maintenance of the transverse arch of the foot. Now we will discuss the metatarsal bones and the phalanges. Metatarsal bone and phalanges resemble the metacarpal bones and phalanges of the hand in that each metatarsal bone possess head distally. See here, this is head, then there is a shaft, and there is the base which is articulating with the cuneiform bone and the cuboid bone. See here, bases are proximally, then there is a shaft, and head is directed distally which is articulating with phalanges. The 5 metatarsals are numbered from medial to lateral side. That is, first metatarsal aligns with the big toe, that is hallux, and so forth across the foot. The first metatarsal bone is long and strong and plays an important role in supporting the weight of the body. There is one important point which you have to learn here. There are two sesamoid bones on the inferior surface of the head of the first metatarsal bone. These sesamoid bones, they are because of flexor hallucis brevis muscle. Remember this thing, because of flexor hallucis brevis muscle, there are two sesamoid bones which are present on the inferior surface of the head of the first metatarsal. and the fifth metatarsal has a prominent tubercle here on its base that can be easily palpated along the lateral border of the foot. The fibularis brevis tendon attached to this tubercle. Remember this thing, peroneus brevis muscle is attached to this tendon. Peroneus longus was the muscle which was forming a groove on the inferior surface of the cuboid bone, and peroneus brevis is the muscle which is attached to the lateral tubercle of the fifth metatarsal bone. Okay, on the navicular bone we have studied that there is tibialis posterior attachment. See here, this is tibialis posterior attachment. On the first metatarsal we have two sesamoid bones which are because of the flexor hallucis brevis muscle. Flexor hallucis brevis muscle. Phalanges, we have two phalanges in the great toe, just like two phalanges in our thumb, and three phalanges in every toe, other toe, which is second, third, fourth and fifth toe. Now some of the clinical applications. Number one is talus fracture. See here, this is the talus bone. Okay, this is the head of the talus, this is neck of the talus, and this is body of the talus, which is articulating with tibia and fibula to form the ankle joint. Fractures occur at the neck or the body of the talus. Neck fractures occur during violent dorsiflexion of the ankle joint when the neck is driven against the anterior edge of the distal end of the tibia. Jumping from height can fracture the body of the talus also, although the two malleoli prevent the displacement of the fractures, because this body is having connection, or it is in relation with the medial malleolus of the tibia medially and lateral malleolus of the fibula laterally. Now there can be calcaneum fractures. Compression fractures of the calcaneum result from the fall from a height. The weight of the body of the calcaneum drives the talus downward into the calcaneum, crushing it in such a way that it loses its vertical height and its width increases. The posterior portion of the calcaneum above the insertion of the tendocalcaneum can be fractured. See here, this is the posterior surface of the calcaneum. This is the first part or the upper part of the posterior surface. This is the middle part of the posterior surface, and this is the inferior part. So the tendocalcaneum is attached to the middle part of the posterior surface of the calcaneum. So the posterior portion of the calcaneum above this tendon Achilles can be fractured by the posterior displacement of the talus bone. The sustentaculum talli can be fractured. See here, sustentaculum talli is present on the medial surface of the calcaneum, which is supporting the talus bone. It can also be fractured by forced inversion of the foot. Okay, forced inversion of the foot. There can be metatarsal fractures. The base of the fifth metatarsal can be fractured during forced inversion of the foot, at which time the tendon of the insertion of the fibularis brevis muscle pulls off the base of the fifth metatarsal, because this fibularis brevis muscle is attached to the lateral tuberosity of the base of the fifth metatarsal. Stress fracture of the metatarsal bone is common in runners and after long periods of walking. It occurs most frequently in the distal third of the second metatarsal, third metatarsal or the fourth metatarsal bone. Minimal displacement occur because of the attachment of the interossei muscle, which are attached to the shafts of the metatarsal bones. So this was the lecture about the bones of foot. I hope you understand.